Will Game of Thrones actually be the first TV show to spoil the book? Did negative feedback doom the Zombieland pilot? Did Rover set a record? Is Sam not going to read the dog pun that Keith put in there? That's all. That's right. But we have multiverse, and that's exciting. And that's all coming up on today's piece of Slice Like Pie.
News from every dark corner of the universe. SliceofSciFi.com.
And welcome everyone to another Slice of Sci-Fi. I'm Michael Armenengay.
Okay, here we go.
I'm Ben Raggington. Thank you, Megan.
I'm Sam Roberts.
I am Noah Richmond.
I'm Megan Zier. I'm really tired, but I want introduced Mr. Skip Jones.
We're still introducing Skip?
Yeah.
He's still a special guest.
You know why? Because I'm lazy. I forgot to rearrange my things. So he was already at the end.
And
so
it's
he gets to
Megan.
be special. Yes.
Okay, well,
So
Skip
there
gets
you
to
go,
be
Skip.
special.
Your news team is next.
So I love this. I'm sorry. I'm just going to read this straight up as it is on the script because whoever wrote this is a genius. Are you ready?
Okay.
One seriously big ass meteor smacked the moon at 56,000 miles per hour.
Boom.
Bam! The impact was like 5 tons of TNT blast. And oh, by the way, we're going to let you watch it happen because Science Channel's Meteorite Men, our very own buddy Geoff Notkin, filed this report.
Greetings, Slice of Sci-Fi. This is your friend Geoff Notkin from Meteorite Men calling in. Hey, did you hear this amazing news from NASA that a meteorite slammed into the moon at 56,000 miles an hour, and the explosion was so bright it could be seen from the Earth briefly with the naked eye? So now, I'm quite keen to do a Meteorite Men in the Moon episode, but I got a little freaked out after watching Iron Sky. It was recommended to me, I'd like to remind you. And it appears that these Nazis that have taken over the moon only need World War II era gas masks to breathe, and that's going to put us at a bit of a disadvantage while trying to collect meteorites. Anyway, let me know if you've got any tips on that, and keep up the great work. If we make it to the lunar highlands or whatever, I'll be sure to throw a couple of rocks your way. Look out!
Very, very cool.
Well, you know, you can let them stay on your patch of land there, right?
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say.
you got a plot of land on the moon.
I've got
Yep.
property up there, Jeff, so you can actually go. I give you permission to go search for anything you want up there.
And if you're worried about Nazis, the meteor got them anyway. So
It's all fine.
That's it. That took them right out.
Absolutely.
So this is a very cool story, though. I mean, it really is. And we do have a really nice video for
We
those of
do,
you
yeah.
that it's a better explanation than what we could do ourselves here. So let's just run the NASA thing.
Bright Explosion on the Moon, presented by Science at NASA. For the past 8 years, NASA astronomers have been monitoring the moon for signs of explosions caused by meteoroids hitting the lunar surface. Lunar meteor showers have turned out to be more common than anyone expected, with hundreds of detectable impacts occurring every year. They've just seen the biggest explosion in the history of the program. On March 17, 2013, an object about the size of a small boulder hit the lunar surface in Mare Imbrium, says Bill Cook of NASA's Meteoroid Environment Office. It exploded in a flash nearly 10 times as bright as anything we've ever seen before. Anyone looking at the moon at the moment of impact could have seen the explosion, no telescope required. For about 1 second, the impact site was glowing like a 4th magnitude star. Ron Suggs, an analyst at the Marshall Space Flight Center, was the first to notice the impact in a digital video recorded by one of the monitoring program's 14-inch telescopes. "It jumped right out at me. It was so bright," he recalls. The 40-kilogram meteoroid, measuring 0.3 to 0.4 meters wide, hit the moon traveling 56,000 miles per hour. The resulting explosion packed as much punch as 5 tons of TNT. Cook believes the lunar impact might have been part of a much larger event. On the night of March 17th, NASA and University of Western Ontario all-sky cameras picked up an unusual number of deep-penetrating meteors right here on Earth, he says. These fireballs were traveling along nearly identical orbits between Earth and the asteroid belt. This means Earth and the Moon were pelted by meteoroids at about the same time. My working hypothesis is that the two events are related, and that this constitutes a short-duration cluster of material encountered by the Earth-Moon system, says Cook. One of the goals of the Lunar Monitoring Program is to identify new streams of space debris that pose a potential threat to the Earth-Moon system. The March 17th event seems to be a good candidate. Controllers of NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter have been notified of the strike. The crater could be as wide as 20 meters, which would make it an easy target for LRO the next time the spacecraft passes over the impact site. Comparing the size of the crater to the brightness of the flash would give researchers a valuable ground truth measurement to validate lunar impact models. Unlike Earth, which has an atmosphere to protect it, the Moon is airless and exposed. Lunar meteors crash into the ground with fair frequency. Since the monitoring program began in 2005, NASA's Lunar Impact Team has detected more than 300 strikes, most orders of magnitude fainter than the March 17th event. Statistically speaking, more than half of all lunar meteors come from known meteoroid streams, such as the Perseids and Leonids. The rest are sporadic meteors, random bits of comet and asteroid debris of unknown parentage. U.S. space exploration policy eventually calls for extended astronaut stays on the lunar surface. Identifying the sources of lunar meteors and measuring their impact rates gives future lunar explorers an idea of what to expect. Is it safe to go on a moonwalk or not? The middle of March might be a good time to stay inside. We'll be keeping an eye out for signs of a repeat performance next year when the Earth-Moon system passes through the same region of space, says Cook. Meanwhile, our analysis of the March 17th event continues. For updates about explosions on the Moon and elsewhere in the cosmos, stay tuned to science.nasa.gov.
And that is really the important part of this story, is that, it's really cool that we spotted this meteor that hit the Moon, but if we're ever to put a presence on the Moon, the amount of activity that's actually happening up there. There is no atmosphere.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it would really suck if you set your condo up on the surface of the Moon and then it gets wiped out by a freaking meteor.
Right? Is that like having flood insurance? If you're on a floodplain, you're going to have like, I don't know, Mike. Did you look at meteorite activity when you bought your plot of land?
I did not.
Did you
And
know
I'm
that a
not
lot
insured.
of moonsurance doesn't cover meteors?
Insurance?
I'm not sure if
Moonsurance.
that's actually a clause in State Farm.
I tell you, I'm not using State Farm because they have no coverage whatsoever for me. So there you go.
Terrible.
But it's an interesting
cool.
conversation.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So attention, Star Trek fans. If there are any of you out there who maybe had a certain affiliation for a certain Scotsman, you're going to love this.
I love the big brains.
There's a really interesting infographic at space.com, and it is called the Inside the Science of Fictional Technology. It sounds like something that maybe Michio Kaku might have had a hand in. In it, it shows how warp drive works, the nature of wormhole travel, transporter technology, tractor beams, and more. These are all explained in a very simple, digestible web image. I think that's just cool. I could lose myself in that.
I remember
Like how fast is warp speed?
Yeah.
And see, I've got a lot of these already in the Star Trek technical manual.
Tech manual.
Right.
I have all the tech manuals for all the different thing, and they actually do explain a lot of things.
A lot of things are there, yeah.
The transporter technology, the warp drive, a lot of this, but this is it's a little bit more interactive.
It's the thing about infographics, which I love personally, is because I have a hard time visualizing things. And so when somebody puts it together for me all in one easy spot that I can look at and reference, and then I can just instead of as I'm not going to read through manuals like some people may, which is fine.
I love manuals.
I love infographics. A, because I'm not good at putting them together, and B, because it's, easy. So this is a good one.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Has anybody read the Science of Star Trek?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, of course, Mike.
Absolutely.
Is what's on the website
it's
similar?
It's very similar. I mean, there's a lot of the thing is that our real knowledge, especially with the new stuff that's in quantum and that's happening with the string theory, and actually, the string theory is old school now. I mean, even superstring theory is like, that's so last decade. They're moving on to new stuff now. But I mean, as we learn more, we got the Higgs boson now. I mean, because that's been discovered and found, and it's always evolving and always changing. So a lot of the things that these are based on, that theoretical is becoming a little bit less theoretical and a little bit more practical.
Well, that's our sci-fi to sci-fact stuff. Like just this week, NASA, there's been articles about NASA looking into printing food for astronauts.
I know. Is that cool
That's
or what?
Bitchin'.
We're so close to replicators now. I mean, I want to print a pot
Earl Grey
roast.
hot. I want some.
Absolutely. Wow. On that note, I think we should do something just really goofy.
What?
Hey, Slice's Sci-Fi crew, Moldy Squid here. Despite the fact that Fox has clamped down on the Jane Hat, and Disney tried to trademark the Mexican Day of the Dead, Cthulhu is free to destroy the world. Shortly before he died, Lovecraft appointed R.H. Barlow, a young writer, as his literary executor. Lovecraft himself died without heirs. Barlow placed most of the papers with the John Hay Library. Before Barlow himself died young, he vied for control over Lovecraft's published works with August Derleth and Donald Wandrey, who had established Arkham House to publish H.P.L's stories. While Arkham House has in the past claimed that it has copyright over Lovecraft's work, and because of many changes of granted rights with Weird Tales and other publishers, there is no clear chain of custody. In fact, the top Lovecraft scholar S.T. Joshi says that the only person who could have actually claimed copyright was H.P.L's aunt Annie Gamwell and her descendants. They, in turn, granted rights to Arkham House to reprint H.P.L's work, but retain copyright for themselves. No renewals of copyright have ever been filed with the Library of Congress by either Derleth, his estate, or the estates of Auntie Annie's heirs. Lovecraft's works have in fact entered the public domain and have been there for some time. Chaosium has a trademark over certain Lovecraftian phrases that relate directly to their role-playing game, but those extend only to their game products. Even if a copyright renewal should come to light at this late date, it would be pretty much meaningless, since H.P.L's works have been in the public domain in the rest of the world for even longer than they have in the U.S. In any case, Lovecraft and his mythos were one of the first instances of what we now call shared world. H.P.L. encouraged other writers to borrow his ideas, characters, and creations for their own use. Cthulhu is free to drive men mad without restriction. I don't know why no one actually refers to Cthulhu in media like Hellboy or Babylon 5, but it isn't because someone holds a trademark or copyright on him. If I had to guess, I would say that while H.P.L. and Cthulhu have inspired a wide sect of writers and artists, the public at large remains ignorant of what lies dead but dreaming in reality. Only a select elite would understand the reference to he who will remake the earth when the stars are right. So raise your voices in a blasphemous chant free of worry that you will be see indeed. This is Moldy Squid, signing out.
Oh, that is so awesome. That was perfect.
That was outstanding.
Favorite is Tourist Thulu in the Hawaiian shirt. Yes. I expect to see him at Comic-Con.
I love
that. Makes for some fun cosplay.
And it makes for some interesting conversation. It's like, okay, if it is truly in the public domain, like,
then what's the problem?
Then what's the problem? Why don't we get it a little bit more prevalent? It's like, come on.
Why don't people use the name?
Use the name, even if people don't understand it. Sure, okay, it's not as widely recognized because nobody talks about him.
Right. Well, and that's the thing that I keep wondering is why can't I find his ebooks for free? I mean, Project Gutenberg, you're going to find like select stories on there, but you're not going to find the main stories that he's really best known for.
Exactly. So there's still got to be something weird going on there that we just
You know what it
know.
is? It's the influence of Cthulhu and his cults.
That could be.
Right? Like there is really some sort of secret, weird cult conspiracy that's doing that for some evil reason that will eventually make us all go insane.
That might be it. I'll
I'm
tell
sure
you
of
what, insanity is just around the corner for me, so I think it's working.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike is proof, ladies and gentlemen.
There you
Mike
go.
is proof.
Proof of the existence of Cthulhu.
Yay.
That's
All right, so speaking of cool things from space, that's
I mean,
my weak segue.
Let's do something really cool from space.
All right. Are we talking about my story?
Yes,
Yes,
we
talk
are.
about your story.
Sure, I'm a little tired. Okay.
It's all right. You
So
can
the
do it
Mars
now.
rover
Yes.
broke the record for total distance driven somewhere other than Earth.
And
I
it's
didn't
on my
even-
property right now, damn it.
You
And
should charge them
I
parking
am.
fees.
I am
Now, I
charging.
didn't know you actually had a plot of land on Mars.
I do.
He does,
I
he does.
have
He's got
Mars and Moon.
I knew you
Yeah.
had Moon. I didn't know you had Mars as well.
Yeah.
Both, yes.
Wow.
I actually own 1,000 acres on Mars.
Wow.
There you go, folks.
That's impressive. So,
I'll be going there next.
So it was last week where it set the record, right? With its latest mission taking it 263 feet to the edge of the Endeavour crater. The rover has driven officially 22.22 miles away from our planet. That breaks the record of the Apollo 17 lunar rover, which was driven 22.21 miles across the surface of the
Right.
moon. And that was not remote, by the way. That was astronauts Gene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt in December of 1972, the year I was born. It's a very excellent year. While the rover has set a record for NASA, it does not hold the world record for the most distance driven on an alien landscape.
This is amazing
I
because
know.
I never knew this. Out of
Guess
all
who,
these
folks?
years,
Take 1 second and guess who has the record. Russians.
the Russians.
The Russians.
The
Remote
Russians.
control.
But more importantly, in 1972, kids.
That's what's
Right?
important.
The Lunokhod, I'm sure I did not pronounce that right, 2 rover drove 23 miles on the lunar surface in 72. Again, I told you, great year.
Thought we had those
Truly.
cosmonauts beat.
I know.
Apparently
it's just
not.
crazy. And of course, we're living here in the middle of capitalist America.
Capitalist Russia.
Capitalist America.
Russia, money
we
eats
wouldn't
you.
hear about the Russians actually doing something in 72.
Yeah.
That amazing. And that really was amazing. They really deserve some kudos for that.
Right. And also then, back to our guy, a few days after breaking the 40-year record, Opportunity took a really good close look at a rock, and apparently her name is Esperanza,
Okay.
sort
Oh,
of.
nice.
They're
Yeah.
engaged, and they're
Yeah.
planning on having little rocks
It's
in the
very
future.
sweet. It's a space love story. There's going to be a TV show on the CW about it.
Awesome.
Angsty teenage rocks. Yeah.
It's Wall-E meets the Mars. That's awesome.
I mean, hey, it happens. So it's
Okay, we're all getting tired and punchy. Sorry, folks.
Right. So the details are that we have some pictures. Are we showing them or just the link?
Wait, this one?
Yeah, that would be the one. Yeah.
Mosaic of 4 frames shot by the microscopic imager on the robotic arm of NASA's Mars exploration rover Opportunity shows a rock target called Esperance after some of the rock's surface had been removed by Opportunity's rock abrasion tool, or I love this, RAT. Yeah, the component images were taken on the 3,305th Martian day, or SOL, of Opportunity's work on Mars, which was May 11th this year. The area shown is about 2.4 inches or 6 centimeters across.
Yeah, I don't think we have the image for it.
Dang it, then we're going to have a link on the show notes and on the
Absolutely.
website.
Absolutely. Of
Which
course
is-
we will.
Yes.
Well, remember the other couple of shows ago, we did a bit story how Amazon was crowdsourcing to pick out pilot episodes to get a green light for their I don't know what the
Their
heck you would
shows
call
they're
it.
developing?
Their shows that they're developing, yes. Well, while that's a great thing for some people, it sucks for others, and it sucked for Zombieland.
Aw.
Yeah, because it looks like they're not going to be getting the TV show after all. Amazon recently decided to pass on the pilot for the potential series set in the movie universe after the pilot only generated, this is sad, middling reviews and feedback on the site.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. That's heartbreaking.
Amazon reviewers can be harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Apparently, they
Sometimes
decided.
it's appropriate.
Yeah, apparently they decided to crowdsource which pilots would be developed as a series and which would not. The pilots for the 14 shows were put up online for fans to view and offer their feedback on, and Zombieland pilot didn't feature any of the cast from the original film. Whoops.
Yeah, that.
Well, yeah. How are you
yeah,
going to get
but
those
you
people?
couldn't get
What could you do? No, I mean, you couldn't do that. I mean, even the best TV shows or the best movies that make it to TV series, they don't do that. So, while Zombieland, the movie, was a hit, apparently for the TV thing. It didn't quite fly. So it looks like it's not going to happen. Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who originally wrote it, they're not pleased about it. Reese had he fired out a post on Twitter blaming overly negative fans for the failure of the pilot. Ouch!
Classy.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Bitter.
Attack the fans.
We're bitter.
That'll do it.
Saying he didn't understand the vehement hatred of the pilot, he added that fans hated the new show out of existence. Ow, that's bitter.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I mean, do we think it's fair for him to blame the fans for such bad buzz on Amazon's passing of this?
I mean, technically, if they were crowdsourcing it to the fans and the fans poo-pooed it, then yes, he can blame the fans. But, maybe he should blame himself for not making something
giving
that
better
people
products.
liked more.
The thing that I heard about it was the guy that played the Woody Harrelson character. Like, Woody Harrelson's character was, a little bit of a dope in the movie.
Sure.
But I heard that in this, he was just like, just ridiculous, like just an
Too
idiot.
broad.
He was an idiot.
Yeah, he was
more
just
a caricature.
like an idiot to the point where it just wasn't even amusing. It was just annoying to have to sit through him.
And
To me,
that's
that is
enough.
the entire movie Idiocracy.
Oh, I love Idiocracy. Love that movie.
So painful.
It is kind of painful to watch.
It is painful to
It's
watch,
funny,
but
but it's painful.
Real.
Jesse
Okay.
Stone, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, Woody Harrelson, right? Like funny and awesome, and then I understand the disappointment. If
We've got to get to some multiverse
Is
news
there
before
multiverse?
we
I
run
want
out of time.
multiverse.
Absolutely.
Covering all the news throughout time and space. This is the Multiverse News.
Hello and welcome to the news. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the first intergalactic lottery. The jackpot has just surpassed 50 quadrillion Federation credits because in the entire history of the Kobayashi Lotto, nobody has won. Due to several recent close calls with asteroids, NASA has resurrected a contingency plan from the year 1979. The plan calls for a construction of a triangular spacecraft that uses vector targeting to break the asteroids into smaller fragments. And then it destroys those fragments. Early tests of the craft were cautiously optimistic. However, there was some concern at one point when NASA seemed to lose contact with the craft on the right side of the sky, but soon reestablished contact with it on the left side of the sky. We will have more news right after this. On the next episode of the All-Star Fighting Robot Guild. It's everyone's favorite C-3PO.
We seem to be made to suffer.
Taking on the Terminator. I'm here to see what you're made of. It's exciting fighting robot battle. You seem to have a good head on your shoulders. Let me take care of that right now.
Please don't deactivate me.
Join us next time only on SciFi. We have an update on the first story. It would appear that the Kobayashi Lotto has had its first winner, a J.T. Kirk from the planet Earth. Congratulations, Mr. Kirk. And now it's time for more
Questions for the Multiverse.
Today's question comes from Gary from Jacksonville, who asks, what's the point where you think your indigestion is actually an alien gestating in your gut? The name of this condition is gastroxeno-incuspeculitis, and according to Professor Shane from Sydney, Australia, 83% of all indigestion is in fact an alien gestating. Only when environmental conditions are favorable does the alien come to term. For this reason, we ask that you avoid deep space ore carriers and prison planets. However, a simple antacid tablet will slow and many times even stop the gestation. Curry is thought to be like mother's milk to the alien and will cause it to grow at an accelerated rate. In fact, if Ripley and friends had taken a simple antacid tablet before sleeping, we all would have been spared Alien 3 and 4. Thank you, Professor Shane. Oh, we have another update on the very first story. The Kobayashi Lotto Commission is now accusing J.T. Kirk of cheating and is refusing to award him the prize money. We will keep you informed on the story as we learn more. So let's take you back now to the Draco Vista Studios.
sliceofsci-fi.com.
Okay, just a minute or so to wrap things up here. We got one more story to knock out.
And it is a death-defying race to the bitter end. Who will win, Game of Thrones or Game of Thrones?
Yes.
So
This is big stuff here.
we don't know if the Game of Thrones television series on HBO will wrap the intended storylines before George R. R. Martin finishes writing the book series.
At the rate he's going, probably.
Right.
It's
not.
tough to tell. You know, now he's involved, and so he has been, like, he's communicating with them about what's going to happen. So what happens in the series is what he intends to happen in the books. It's just, what'll we get first?
But the movie will actually do it, and he won't actually have written it.
I don't know. I mean,
That's been my theory for quite a while.
Hey, you know what? This might be his whole grand plan. Let
don't
them
think
do
so.
it, and then he'll write the script.
He'll write what they wrote.
He'll write what they wrote.
brilliant.
You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot to be said about that.
The only weird thing about that is, and this is something that he did say with the red carpet interview that we showed, that is, he's got characters that are alive in the books that got killed off in the show, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So at this point, I mean, the show going this way, books going that way.
Yeah.
So it's going to be too divergent.
Does it really
things.
matter?
But still, the producers have said that they're working with him, and ideally the books come out first. But still, the broad strokes, like the end game, right? I'm sure is going to be the same.
Yeah, the little minor
Just the details of how they get there.
Just a few dead people, whatever.
Yeah, there you
know,
go.
it's all
like
pretend.
That's all good.
Because there's really no dragons, and that makes me sad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Now my childhood's been ruined. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Alrighty. Anyway, we are done. That's going to do it for us this week. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Of course, we will have more again in just tomorrow, actually. We've got a lot of stuff still coming up for the rest of this week.
Yay!
There's a reason we're all so tired.
Exactly.
And you will find out why.
And you'll find out tomorrow and the next day. So there you go. SliceSciFi.tv, SliceSciFi.com. Of course, the Twitters, the Facebooks. You can follow us there. And I'm actually Twittering, folks.
Oh, yay!
I've noticed.
I am actually using my Twitter
I've been
account.
slacking on the
It's
Twitter.
terrible.
I haven't been on it at all. I feel so bad.